Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are up at the chicken coop gardens and I am going to show you how to use some store-bought hanging baskets that you buy at your local garden center, how to use them in a slightly different way so they make sure that they last you all season long and that they look fantastic in your garden. And then we are going to build a hanging basket together for the shade. I've got this gorgeous container that I purchased and I am excited to share with you how we're going to create a really colorful, fun, shade-loving container in this gorgeous hanging basket that I have purchased. Now, you can see right here behind me, we are on the edge of the chicken coop. This is the front of the chicken coop. We're gonna handle the flower bed. That's another day. I've got some really fun annuals that we're gonna put in there, but we're not gonna do that today. What we're gonna focus on today is this really great conical shaped hanging basket that our friends at Kinsman Garden Company sent me. They know that I absolutely adore their products and they were kind enough to send me this conical hanging basket for me to try. Really fun because it is that cone shaped, of course, creates a whole different kind of architectural element to the gardens, right? And it's going to be right here on the corner. I did have my wind chimes hanging there, but I think I'm just going to turn around and put a hook and use them on the backside of the garden shed and put them, or the chicken coop rather, and put them there. What we're going to do is I have got this gorgeous Super Bells Dreamsicle hanging basket from the nursery. I have not used Dreamsicle as a hanging basket in my garden for a couple of years. I don't know why. I love this plant. I specifically sought this one out. So we are going to take this 10-inch hanging basket and then we are going to transfer it into my basket that I have. We're going to do that first. Then we're going to come over here to the back side of the chicken coop where I have the aquapot light. This was, of course, remember, Proven Winners sent it to us last year and we potted it up multiple times throughout the season, the past year, a little less than a year. I am going to put in this gorgeous hanging basket, also from the nursery. This is the recipe from Proven Winners called, well, it's called Living on the Edge. And Living on the Edge has, as you can see, it has royal velvet. It has the really red, Super Tuner really red, and then yes, some more Dreamsicle. So these will all tie in together. We're going to take it out of the hanging basket, put it in the lights, and we're going to add a thriller to this. We're going to use the purple fountain grass. So I'm going to show you how you can take a hanging basket, whatever it may be, if it doesn't have a thriller in it, show you how to add your own thriller. I have been very happy with how this container has done for the fall/winter. I had in some violas and this great evergreen. I left it right here because I wanted you to see how well it was growing. So when I lifted it up, it came literally straight out of the aquapot light with all of its roots intact in that perfect, square shape. I'm going to take this and add it to the garden. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go in the garden, so I just left it here for right now because I wanted to show you how well it was doing. Then we're going to come over here to kind of the wood side, the woodland garden, and we are going to plant up this beauty. This is what I went on Etsy. Y'all know me, I do adore Etsy, and I found from H. Potter. I love H. Potter. That is also where I got the trellis that the White by the Gate camellia is growing on. I found this fantastic container. It is a metal container, has that kind of that antique copper look to it, and yes, it does have a drain hole. So this is a nice size container that we are going to pot up. Yes, it is going to be a shade container, although right now we're getting some sun. The trees have not completely leafed out yet. Yes, there's leaves, but they're not fully leafed. This will definitely get some morning sun. It'll get to be about that, probably right at that 5-hour mark for sun. And then it will go in the shade in the rest of the afternoon. This is what we're going to put in it. Caladiums literally just arrived. Our very first order of caladiums arrived, and so I went searching and I found Clowning Around. I love this. We have done it before because it has just such a cool shape to the leaves. They get huge. There's green, there's cream, there's kind of a pink in there. That is going to be our thriller. We've got a spiller of the Bewitched Green with Envy, probably my favorite sweet potato vine. So we've got those. They're going to spill over along with the new Cherry Drop coleus. That is kind of also a bit of a filler and a spiller, so we've got that, and then also as my filler is the Rocapuco rose, so we're going to use that. So we're going to put all these together. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. I'm going to tell you that it is already toasty. I literally have been standing out here for 5 minutes talking to you, and I'm already starting to sweat. We are currently in a bit of a heat wave. We are above normal temperatures right now in North Carolina. In a couple of days, we're still gonna go up for a couple of days, and then we're gonna crash back down to normal temperatures with like highs in the 60s. So you're gonna see Jenny glisten in the garden today as we get these hanging baskets and these containers put together. But this is a really great way to go to your local garden center. You see a hanging basket that you love. Just know you don't have to leave it in that form. If you want to, great, amazing, do it. Keep it simple, sweetie. However, if you want to tweak it and use it a different way, I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, we're going to get it set up, and we're going to start with Dreamsicle, and then we'll end up over here. All right, my friends, so what I did is, like I do with all my containers, the bottom 1/3, I put my land and seed compost in, then I put my Proven Winners potting soil in. There you go. That's what we need to do. Just realized I forgot the biotone. So hold that thought. We're going to be right back. We're going to grab the biotone, put a little sprinkle in that. Typically at this point, I would also put in the Proven Winners time release fertilizer. We're out. So what I will do is once it comes back in, I'll just come and add it back to the container. I'll do that on all of the containers. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't matter if you put it in the bottom of the hole or the top of around the plant. Either one is fine. Grab my biotone. Then I'm going to show you how to put these two together. This is really simple, and it is a great trick. So we have a 10-inch green hanging basket that has a Super Bell's Dreamsicle in it. Has a wire hanger. Now, depending on how your hanger is attached to your hanging basket, will differ a little bit. Sometimes they are plastic. These are wire, and they just simply stick in, and then we had folded them over when we were potting them. So all I'm doing is going around. There are 3 wires, uncurling it, right? And then pulling it out. If they're plastic, you can cut it, you can snap them out, however you want. It doesn't matter. We just want to get the hanger part off of the basket. Now, at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to hold it in one hand on the bottom. With your other hand, you're going to make like a claw, right? So claw. And what you want is your fingertips just to be touching the top part of the soil, because we don't want to crush the top of the plant. So just get your fingers in there till it's just the tips are on it. Turn it upside down, right? Not crushing anything. And then just shake your pot. I have a little friend down here that I am sure is going to want this pot. Boo, you want this pot? And there she goes. Now you'll notice that I don't have the saucer on my pot, on my plant. If I did, I would take that off. Our hanging basket, the saucer is built in, so we can just leave it like that. Now, this is going to be a little bit tricky. I didn't think about this because I've got my hangers. Let's see if I can do this. It's really a kind of a weird thing to plant because of its shape. Like I can't just put it on the ground. So all I did was unhooked one of the hangers, and then I'm gonna try this, and we're gonna flop it. There we go. Now at this point, because I wasn't very graceful, I'm just gonna make sure that it's sitting flat. Okay, there we go. And we're just gonna kinda, I equate hanging baskets that are this full to a bride with her wedding gown, right? I mean, you gotta fluff, you gotta get them in there just so, make sure that the wires are not hurting the plant. Come back and reattach the one. There we go. All right, so see, it's in. What we're gonna do is make sure it looks nice and flat, very natural looking here. And there we go. Now, There is a little bit of space between the root ball of the hanging basket and the side wall of the cocoa liner. So what I'm going to do is I have a little cup right here, grab some extra potting soil. I'm going to go around and make sure that it's all filled in. I don't want any air pockets next to my roots. I want as much soil as I possibly can get into this hanging basket so that it retains moisture. But it really is as simple as that. I mean, it's like an instant hanging basket in your own container, right? This was a 10-inch basket, like I said, and I probably have, I don't know, a good inch and a half all the way around. I'd have to look to see exactly what the size is on this one, but I would say it might be like a 14-inch across. So I'm gonna get my potting soil, come around and backfill, and it is as easy as that. Clearly I gave her some water. When you're watering in your hanging baskets, of course, let that water go all the way through. If you find that your hanging baskets have dried out completely, like they are dry, you're gonna wanna come back and do this multiple times, because when the soil is completely bone dry, the water will just literally run right through. Little gets absorbed, it just like skims the outside of the surface of the hanging basket. So you're gonna wanna come back through multiple times and water it. If you don't have a conical shape and you just have a traditional round bottom hanging basket, the most effective way that I have found to deep water my hanging baskets is to get a nice shallow tub. Doesn't have to be really deep, but you're gonna want it wide enough that the bottom of your pot will fit inside of it. Go ahead, fill it up with some water and just let it sit in there, depending on how dry it is and how much time you have. An hour, let it sit there an hour. It will completely soak up all of that good water and give it really a nice deep watering. This is also how you can really be effective on your water soluble fertilizer, because a lot of times, myself included, I do my water soluble fertilizer and I'm like, it's all running out of the pot. You feel like you're being very wasteful. Do that when you need to fertilize, especially if they're easy to take up and down. Now this conical one's gonna be a little interesting to do that. I'm probably just gonna have to lose my fertilizer, but I'm gonna have annuals under here, so it's not really lost. But you can do that, soaks up all that great fertilizer water, and then you can actually take it out and put another hanging basket in. So now what we're gonna do is head on over and we're gonna do the aquapot light with Living on the Edge and a great thriller of purple fountain grass. Aquapot light, here we go. Now, aquapot lights are inserts. Well, first of all, you can get the container. You can get those from Proven Winners, but they also have the aquapot insert. And what that consists of is a tub that does not have any holes in it, and then your top. That's what we're doing here. It does overflow, so it's not going to saturate your container, but it's a way to retrofit an existing container with an aquapot insert. Had great success with this one, and I have a ceramic pot of mine that I did this last summer, and it did great as well. What we're going to do is we're still going to use our compost, but when I do my aquapots, I like to take my potting soil, Proven Winners potting soil, put some in, so that the soil tube has the Proven Winners potting soil in it as opposed to the compost. And you just kind of push that down to make sure that it's in there. Now I can come back with my compost and do the same bottom 1/3, and then we're gonna do the potting soil, and I'm gonna show you a trick on how to make sure your hanging basket can fit down there perfectly and you don't have to add soil around the edges like I did last time. All right, so your trick is, we're gonna go ahead and take the hanging basket apart, like we did with the dreamsicle. So I'm just gonna come around, take these out. Now, those of you that are wondering about how many plants are in the containers, when we make up a mono basket like the dreamsicle, meaning that it's the same plant, and we use 3 of those. Although with the dreamsicle, did we use, Jerry's right here beside me, did we use 4? We did. Typically we do 3, but super bells sometimes are a little slower to get going. You know, they're not quite as vigorous as a petunia. We went ahead and bumped it up to 4. So there's 4 dreamsicles in that container. And in the Proven Winner recipes, there's 6. So there's 2 of each. So what we're gonna do is go ahead, do like before, take it out. Now, this time I'm gonna put the pot in the aquapot, and I'm gonna turn this upside down and just put it off beside of me. Wherever I want my hanging basket to be, I'm going to move the soil away, and I am going to basically bury this container. I'm going to pack soil all around it. Now, we're going to add a thriller. We're going to use the purple fountain grasses, and this is, all the graceful grasses are quite vigorous, but I thought this would be fun to have that really nice deep dark purple. It'll do the plumes, it'll be gorgeous. So I'm going to take it out as well. Very vigorous plant. Put that off to the side. Take my little grande. I want my thriller is going to be right here, dead center of that, and in the back. And then I'm going to have my lovely assistant come, and he is going to top dress and fill all of this whole container with potting soil. And I'm going to cover up the the water tube. So then take your soil, and we're going to pack it in here all around our containers. We can take the soil out of the containers, right? We need some more, so take it out of the containers and just pack it. We want to pack this in as much as you absolutely can, so that when we take these containers out, there is the perfect form around them, and we're just going to slide the plants in. There you go. Okay, so here we go. Let's do the grande first, and I'm going to go ahead and slide it in there. I don't have my hori-hori with me, but all you have to do is take your thumbs and just break it up, right? If you have a plant that is, quote, root bound, the graceful grasses are very vigorous, right? So what we're trying to do is tease the roots apart. We're not necessarily trying to break them, we just don't want them to keep going in a circle. We want them to go out into the rest of the soil. So we're just going to loosen them up like that. So we're going to take our plant, we're going to slide it down in there. See? Ta-da. Then we're going to carefully remove the hanging basket. I've got a perfect indention. Carefully pick up your hanging basket. Slide it into the hole. There you go. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. I already hear it. But Jenny, it swallowed up your grass. What are you going to do? You can't see the grass. Now, I'm probably going to give some of you a heart attack right now, and that's okay. We're going to stretch you. I'm going to come in, and I am literally going to pinch back all of those stems that are up close and personal on the grass. Now, I have no fear that these petunias and this super bell cannot handle it. What's going to happen is it gives light to my grass so that my grass can get the sunshine and it can grow. The graceful grasses are extremely vigorous. They will catch up in no time flat. Where I'm pinching back these petunias and super bells, they will fill in and be just fine. Yes, it looks a little different for right now. It's okay. Think long term. And no, I do not have my Felcos. I used my fingertips. I came unprepared today without my Felcos. So all I have to do now is I'm going to water in the container really, really well because my grass was dry. And then right here, because it has the little blue flower, is my water tube. Take the hose, fill it up. The bad thing about the aquapot lights is you don't really know when they're full. So I just sit there and hold it for a little while, especially when I know it's empty. All that will drain out and it will be fine. So this one is done. Gorgeous colored basket. Gonna have a beautiful grass coming out of it in no time flat. After this, we're gonna move to the shade container. Last one, last but not least. Okay, this is a very pretty much lightweight container, right? It's got a drain hole in the bottom. Y'all, if you're gonna plant in a container, please make sure it has a drain hole. If it doesn't have a drain hole, either A, don't buy it, or you need to add one. Otherwise, your plants are probably going to drown. We're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna rinse and repeat. So, land and sea. potting soil in the last container, right? Get that in there. Probably can add the rest of this bag. Woo, it's gonna be full. That's what we like it. Maybe a smidge too full. We'll see once we compact it down. Probably gonna take out some just because I don't like my hanging baskets or containers rather to be so full of soil that when I go to water, it like overflows instead of going down in there. Plus I'm gonna be adding quite a few plants in here. So we're going to do that. Now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and kind of do the same method, but basically caladium's gonna go in the middle, right? So this is my thriller. And then my 3 other sets of plants, the Rocapuco, the Coleus, and the sweet potato vine, they're gonna go opposite each other. So the 2 Coleuses are gonna go opposite each other, the 2 sweet potato vines are gonna go opposite of each other, and the 2 impatiens are gonna go opposite of each other. So that's what I'm gonna do. Go ahead and yeah, here we go. I've got everybody planted, and what I'm doing is I'm coming back through and top dressing with some pine bark fines. This is from Daddy Pete. This is literally the bark off of pine trees that has been aged. This is a great soil amendment, so if you have compacted clay, you know, like our red clay, you can add this in. It also works really well to top dress your containers. Now you absolutely could use Land and Sea. I have done that hundreds of times. That's not a problem. But I just wanted to give you another option of what you can do with the pine bark fines. The reason that we top dress and don't just leave it with the plain potting soil is because it will help retain moisture. None of the chicken coop gardens are on irrigation, so I have to come through and hand water. Any little bit of help that I can get with my containers, my landscaping, where I'm going to need help with watering, I'm going to take it. So this is a great option for you to use. When I very first started doing this, I was just using regular mulch. Then Mimi, being the genius that she is, my mama, started using compost, the Land and Sea. And I was like, well, that's just great. So you can also, like I said, I've done many times with this pine bark fines as well. What I'm going to do is, because this is just a little bit awkward, I am going to rehook this, right? So hook it on, and then I am going to employ the muscles from my amazing husband, and he is going to lift it up for me and hang it, because he's a Superman, and he loves me, and he loves to help me, and I'm sweating to death. Now, could I lift this up? Yes, I could. But if you got somebody here to help you, take the help, people. So all I gotta do, give her a good drink of water, cleaning up the pot as we go. If you're curious about the wrought iron hangers that I have, that too is from Etsy. I will link everything in the video description, so if you want to go shopping, you sure can. This is just things that I use that I'm sharing with you, so have fun with that. But as always, my friends, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. As soon as I turn this video off, I'm going to turn this hose right on myself because it's quite toasty. Jerry said, I can't believe you're not dying. And I was like, yep, I am. It's hot. So as always, we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.